Hi, everyone. I am Marcy Novis-Levine, and I want to welcome you to Holistic Healing. And with me today is Darieth Chisolm. But I'm going to talk to you a little bit about myself, and then we're going to ask Darieth some questions. But I am a holistic lifestyle coach and healer, and I'm also a podcast host and speaker. And I'm on this journey to heal as many people as I can while I'm healing myself. Because when we go through a healing process, we all, have to do our own way of healing. And the best way to do that is to help others. So today we have Darieth Chisolm, who is a Emmy award-winning TV host. She is a filmmaker and former TV anchor and international speaker. She also is a life coach and business coach, and she has written a book. I think two books, right?
This
Is it
one.
right? Just one. She has written a book called Hustle: Why Now is the Best Time to Unleash Your Passions, which we all need to do that, definitely. And she is also, she's done a few projects. One is 50 Shades of Silence, which is a really awesome documentary. And now she's doing The Way of the Healer, and that is also a docu-series. So we're going to ask hearing a few questions. What has your journey taught you about the healing process?
Marcy, thank you so much for having me. And I appreciate this conversation about healing so much. And the journey to healing, I think, is just so fascinating. And what I find to be true about those of us who are on our journey to healing, like you, is that we all have the capacity to heal ourselves, no matter what modality or form of healing that takes place. And often we find that through another healer. And so I have this statement that healed people heal others, or at least offer people the opportunity to heal themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like you, I've been on this path of healing. In this case, it's not only taking me through my own journey of healing, but now to feature various different healers on my website, thewayofthehealer.com, and my podcast on podcast platforms, is because I'm so fascinated at where we are now, where people are choosing alternative modes of healing and different healing modalities that are ways that we can not even just heal the physical pain that many of us may be in or experiencing that might be a result of trauma, pain, addiction, what have you, but the underlying issues and how we do that through various forms of healing. I'm a huge proponent for plant medicine, psychedelics, cannabis, and consciousness as modalities for healing. But we know that there's so many others, right? From sound healing to Reiki to various different forms of like crystals. And so the journey of healing and to healing is one that I think will always be on as we really expand our awareness to what's possible through our own healing.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is amazing. So do you feel like mind body health is like just trending, or do you think it's something that we all need right now, everybody, because of COVID?
I think it's both. I think it definitely is trending. I think we all had an opportunity in COVID to stop and pay attention. Obviously we were concerned about the virus and had nothing to do except for try and take care of ourselves. And certainly for those people who unfortunately got COVID or lost people to COVID, it shifted our awareness to like how we live and how we take care of ourselves. And certainly from a physical standpoint, uh, being more mindful about how we care about ourselves, from food to exercise to what we're what we're doing, but also the energetics of healing and healing on deeper levels. And so many people find that their journey to healing is also this journey to an awakening, or to a spiritual awakening in some place, because the wholeness, I believe, that we experience when we tap into our healing opens up and can be very a sense of enlightenment, if you will, or awareness. And so I think that's why the trending part of it is occurring, and why we also perhaps see so many people post COVID finding more ways to heal.
I agree. I agree. And there's so many people out there with post-COVID. It's crazy. So with your experience, your channeling experience, did you find your purpose?
I let me back up and say I didn't even know that I didn't even know what channeling was, let alone my capacity to be a verbal channel and have that experience. Now, I'm aware of what channeling is, and I'm certainly aware that many of us channel all the time. I mean, an athlete who's in the zone is channeling, perhaps someone who's painting and being inspired, and the images come out onto the paper, a singer sometimes. So we all perhaps are in and out of states of channeling either a higher frequency or a higher vibration of something that kind of puts us into the flow, or has us in a capacity to take something from someplace out there and then bring it into the material world, bring it into the 3D. For me, what I discovered about channeling is as I was in a pretty large magic mushroom experience, and with psilocybin. For anyone who's ever used mushrooms or psilocybin, if you're using a smaller dose, you may not have visions and the experience. For me, this was more of a macro dose, and I completely opened up to receiving energy that I would refer to now as light language. And I began speaking light language, and it was strange and startling and different. And, I was like, what is going on? And I, in that first instance, realized there was something quite different from that. And it was a language that I couldn't interpret, and I wasn't doing it, but it was coming through me. And as I began to do more research on channeling and sit with myself through deeper meditation, not necessarily with any plant medicine or psychedelics, but just like with a cup of coffee and meditating,
Right.
I was able to tap into these guides that are channeling through me and speaking light language. And so I record many of those sessions. And while particularly for people who channel light language, sometimes you're not even able to put it to English words. Sometimes I can. And when those instances happen and I know how to interpret it, it's so profound and powerful. And I now am in moving into the capacity to be able to formulate and translate what I'm experiencing from my guides and speak English. And that has been a very profound and interesting experience. In fact, in one experience, as I was asking, who are you and what is this that I'm experiencing? It was made very clear to me that it is more like a body of energy, or a council, or a group that calls itself Hollis. And that was that when I have time to be with Hollis, and the messages that I receive, it's a very loving, very high vibrational, energetic exchange, and it's quite powerful, the experience of channeling.
That sounds amazing. It does sound amazing.
Yeah.
So, do you believe in the law of attraction?
Oh, absolutely. The law of attraction is I learned about the law of attraction when I was a young girl, and so I've certainly practiced the principles of law of attraction and learned about it. I'll tell you that part of what I am now in awareness of is the art of allowing, which is perhaps a step beyond the law of attraction. And so
Mhm.
while the law of attraction primarily is like attracts like, you get what you focus on. This universe is really designed to support us in energetically in having made manifest the energy that we're in. We're sending out a frequency that is drawing back to us, attracting back to us a very similar vibration or similar energy that is then made manifest in some way. Law of attraction. The art of allowing is such that you are in the receivership of actually allowing, because you are at a frequency, you're raising your vibration to a certain frequency, that you now are allowing things in which with much more ease and grace. So it's a bit of a, I guess I would say 2.0
Right, right,
way of looking at the law of attraction.
right,
In that, I think a lot of us think with the law of attraction or even with manifesting that there's something that you got to do in order to manifest. Well, the
right,
art of allowing is such that it already exists. It's available for you. It exists in the now with you. Whatever it is, the solution does exist. There's a myriad of solutions that are available for you to receive when you are in the state of allowing.
right, right. I agree. I definitely agree on the law of attraction. And sometimes we draw in what we need, sometimes it's not good, but it's things that we need for our growth and for our learning experience. Yeah. And I believe that with healing too. And I believe that, with the healing that a lot of us, are experiencing, sometimes we don't allow ourselves to heal.
Yeah.
And we, a lot of it is emotional baggage because mind body connection is so profound. And have you experienced anything with the mind body connection?
Yeah, I mean, let me back up and say part of the reason why I went on this quest and journey to heal, which has been about a 3 year journey, was because I came out of, you talked a little bit about my first documentary, 50 Shades of Silence. That documentary, as well as Social Justice Project, was born out of my experience with revenge porn and cyberbullying. And I went into immediate action after I picked myself up after months of depression because of the experience that I'd had. And I went right into advocating for victims and filming a documentary and talking about the need for laws and the protection against those victims who are experiencing revenge porn and cyberbullying. I did a TED talk, the website. There was a lot of work that went into it, and I'm happy that I did it because it allowed me to give voice to the voiceless and stand in my power, not only for my own protection, but the protection of what I now know as millions of people. Well, you can imagine that's weighty, right? Took a lot of energy, a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of money. And as I began to kind of navigate the next steps beyond that, I was in the question of how do I heal from this? Because what I became so aware of is that hurt people hurt people. I was dealing with all of the hurt that I'd experienced from the person who hurt me and then watching other people be hurt. And I needed to shift myself out of that. And it was showing up from on a physical side, obviously because whatever we're emotionally feeling, it can manifest physically. And so I went on this quest for healing that took me into the jungles of Colombia to experience ayahuasca multiple times, to various different healers, and experience wachuma. And I mentioned to you about mushrooms and psilocybin. Basically, I started this path of healing through plant medicine and psychedelics. But what it did for me beyond that was open me up to higher states of consciousness
Mhm.
and to allow me to be in a higher frequency where healing was so much more rapidly for me than what I had been experiencing through traditional forms of healing, i.e., therapy, reading books, going to counseling. Not that those things don't work, because they
Right,
do,
right, they do.
but the use of plant medicines and psychedelics work in the brain in such a way that healing, the promotion of healing, can happen so much more quickly. Now, it's important though that you integrate and that you
Great.
utilize a certain mindset going forward to continue the healing process for yourself. And that is what I began to do. And in that is where I really discovered, as I pointed out to you, is my capacity to channel, my capacity to be in higher states and hold a higher state of frequency and vibration, and my life began to change. So while I was going for a physical healing, what I found was that I was operating at such a frequency that, as I talked about allowing, that wow, I was more joyful more often throughout the day, more peaceful. Play became something. Being in the moment and being present and aware in the moment shifted everything for me, because I could be at a state of allowing things to be made manifest so much more quickly. And that, it was something I didn't even expect that to happen as part of it. So much so that I even have a course called Shift, which is all about teaching the principles of raising your frequency and your vibration so that you are in more awareness to allow the beautiful things that we really want in our life, which include
Right,
healing and joy and happiness and freedom and peace and prosperity. And I believe that when we're functioning from a state of wholeness, which is what we probably already are anyway, is
right,
when
exactly.
life shows up and
Mhm.
mirrors that for us.
No, I agree. I totally agree on that. And do you think everybody is born with a gift or a purpose?
Absolutely. I don't think any one of us came here without a gift and without a purpose. And some of us discover it very early in life, and we may not have the environment or the people around us to help us to nurture that gift. And then that is where we go on this quest in many cases to ask, what is my purpose? I mean, again, part of my healing started with wanting to heal from that pain. But the bigger question that I had for myself is, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Like, and what am I going to do next with my life? Whether it was utilizing the gifts and talents that I had or figuring out something else, but like, I just wanted an answer. And I'll tell you that when I asked that question in my first ayahuasca experience, and I asked, what's my purpose and what do I do next? I really thought like I was going to get this answer of like, sell this course or go speak about this topic or go do. And what I felt
Mhm.
and what I heard was love. It was, Marcy, it was
Um,
like the most profound experience. Like I had this, and I'm like laying there in the jungle. Like, listen, I know how to love. Like I did not come all the way here with a bunch of strangers to figure out how to love. Like I know how to love. And then I heard myself or heard a voice say, do you really? Do you really know how to love yourself? Do you really know what love is? And the whole day I had this most incredible experience of love, and it was varying, but it was just so profound. And I'll never forget, I said out loud, I said, everybody and their mama needs to experience this, right? And
uh,
it really put me on this path. And I mean, it opened up so much for me and in my own personal life and my capacity to love it and to forgive and to move forward, and then to really choose to vibrate at a frequency of love, which is, as we know, love and joy are the highest forms of frequency anyway. And so,
oh, yes,
it's just having that awareness and choosing that energy as often as possible, because you're not going to do ayahuasca every day, trust me. It's not one of
right,
those things.
right,
Not
right.
going to want to do it either. However, living in that state, I think, is something that we can learn to shift into.
Yeah, I believe that as well because I think that now, in this day and age, people are so uptight and they're so wound up and they need that, kindness and love and just a different energy about them.
Yeah.
So, I totally understand where you're coming from
Yeah.
with that. So tell me about your new docu-series that you're
Yeah. Yeah, it's called The Way of the Healer, and you can find all about it at thewayofthehealer.com. But what happened was, this was in a different ayahuasca experience. I got a very clear download that I should tell these stories and to do a docuseries. And what became very clear for me was that there are so many untold stories about healers who are out here in the world using their gifts and talents to usher people into their own healing. And I began with the focus with the documentary of finding women who are in this space using plant medicine, psychedelics, and consciousness as their form of medicine to help to usher people onto their own healing. And so the documentary is something that we're working on right now. But in the meantime, I decided to start the podcast, which is available on podcast platforms by the same name, The Way of the Healer, and my YouTube channel, where I can feature a variety of different healers, working in a variety of different modalities, and to enrich in this conversation about what healing is. And so that is what the docuseries is about. It also includes an opportunity for me to work with people on shifting their energy to higher frequencies and to this place of activating more creativity in their own lives, and that's through expanded states of consciousness. You don't necessarily need to use plant medicine to do that. We they're a great way to use it, but I don't necessarily advocate the use for that. But that in my awareness becomes our capacity to do that through breathing, through breath work, through meditation, through intention, through really choosing your highest, best life in any particular moment. So it's about being in the present moment and accessing your storehouse of creative energy when you're in it in order to be able to shift into the higher frequencies and draw in, attract, and allow what it is that you want in your life.
Oh, that's amazing. Can you tell me a little bit about your book you just wrote?
Well, I didn't write a new book. So
Oh,
Hustle is a
I thought
book
it
that I
was
wrote.
new.
Yeah, no, no. So Hustle is a book that I wrote some years ago, and that's available on Amazon. What is as of late would be the podcast, The Way of the Healer, and of course the docuseries that I'm working on, and then Shift. My new 5-week live coaching program to help people shift into a higher state of being and call in the life that they want.
Oh, that's amazing. You're doing so many wonderful things for the world, It makes a difference when we're all contributing somehow, some way, and having an environment that supports that as well.
Definitely.
So and it's been really, really nice talking with you. I really appreciate, you coming on here today. And thank you so much. And
Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for the work that you're doing in the world, Marcy.
you're welcome. You're
I
welcome. And
really
I
appreciate it.
my gift, I think, is I just want to help as many people as I can,
Yeah,
as I'm going through my own journey. But sometimes we don't get in the right place and we have to be in a supportive environment.
yeah, we do, we really are. We're not we're not in this thing alone, and that's just it. Like life is, we're here, and that's what's so important. And like in our space of being here, we're all connected, and
We are
in
connected.
our separation and in our disconnect, I think is where we only exaggerate the wounds that we have. And so when we can find more ways to be in service and be in connection, it just makes the world a better place, right? Like, and I think at the end of
I
the day,
totally
that's what we're
agree.
looking for. Yeah.
And people weren't meant to be islands. People were meant to connect. It's that's what we're here for.
That is so
Unity,
true.
unity consciousness, right?
Exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly, for
Thank
sure. So, thank you so much for having me.
you so much. I appreciate it. And you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, you too. Thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you.